Hey guys, this is Ladder. Hello and welcome to another video. As you can probably tell by the title today, we won't be discussing Star Wars, Halo, or science fiction, but instead I'll be talking about something that's very important to me, and that's the serious threat posed by copyright claimants on YouTube as a platform, and how they're an existential threat not only to YouTube creators, but also small and often independent musicians or artists. If you're not interested in this content, don't worry, I'll get you with another upload either tonight or tomorrow, but if you do want to learn about the topic of today's video, I've put some Squadrons gameplay on. Sit back, relax, and let's have a chat. So I've been doing YouTube for a while now, since 2017. I've uploaded between my main channel, Ladder, and my second channel, X2, over 1,500 videos and live streams. Pretty crazy, and I've got a fairly good idea of how YouTube works. Since 2017, I've experienced a lot on the platform. There's been so many different changes. I mean, the year I started, we had an adpocalypse when Logan Paul visited a forest. We've had advertisers drop out because PewDiePie said the N-word. We've had serious changes in the way YouTube treats content. My channel has personally exploded some months and, been kind of quieter some months. And for those interested, the recent thing that I've noticed is that basically all of the big Star Wars channels pretty much have the exact same high and low points, as the algorithm now takes an even heavier role in promoting content. But that's not really what we're talking about today. One thing that among all the change has been constant is the issue with copyrights and digital rights management on YouTube as a platform. The scale of YouTube is really crazy, perhaps unprecedented from a social media perspective. There's so much content being uploaded on YouTube every minute that it far surpasses YouTube's ability to actively monitor everything using human eyes. So we see bots and AI doing a lot of the dirty work when it comes to copyright management or content curation or censorship or whatever else. Let's talk about music though, because for me, music is an incredibly important part of my channel. The music that I use is, I think, well recognizable and helps set the tone for the videos I make, and it's one thing that I use to try to make you guys feel a certain way when you're watching my content. I use almost exclusively independent artists and musicians, and it's very important to me that these people get credit for what they do, so of course I always ask permission before using their songs. When I can, I help coordinate so I can promote new albums of theirs if it fits with the channel. I've frequently offered payment, though it's always been declined, and I get awesome background tracks and they get a little bit promotion. Now, I still think that I'm getting the much better deal in this situation, but if you look at some of the music featured in my videos, we've sent hundreds of thousands of views towards artists which may not have gotten attention before now. That's not something I'm bragging about, I just think it's important for context here. Let me explain how digital rights management when it comes to music works. Just a very, very basic example. Let's call the musician Unfound, and by the way, that amazing music that you can hear right now and that I've been playing throughout this video is music by Unfound. Unfound, having made some amazing music, will go to a company like, say, Root Note to manage the distribution and copyright of their music. This is fine. We don't want people without permission just uploading Unfound's music and profiting off of it. And if Unfound, say, didn't want me using their music, then I shouldn't be allowed to. This is very common, and this is how copyright exists basically across YouTube. When it comes to Star Wars movies, for example, if Disney wanted to, they could copyright flag every single video that I put up. However, they realize that there's an inherent benefit in YouTubers talking about their product, and they respect fair use enough to not take down my videos or put a copyright claim on it unless I'm not using the video in a fair way, which to them is typically based on amount of the footage used and music and whatever else. Not everyone is like that. Some companies like CBS will flag pretty much anything you put up. Then you've got to make a fair use argument, which basically says, technically I am using their material, but I'm doing so in a way that is legal. But we'll talk about that in a different video. In my experience on YouTube, music rights management companies have been absolutely terrible when it comes to overzealous protection of their copyright, and right now there is pretty much unlimited benefit to them to doing so because they can take money, while YouTube has no punishment or no way to stop this. Let me explain what's going on. So, I license music to use in my video, but despite the fact that I'm using the music legally, it will still get flagged by these companies. What happens if my video gets flagged? Well, they take all the money, and that's right. If I play 10 seconds of a song in a 6-hour live stream, they take all of the money that I would have earned. It's all bots doing this, of course, at least in the vast majority of cases. They will essentially just search YouTube for the copyrighted work being used in new uploads, and if they see it, they'll take your money and that's the end of it. You can appeal it, but this happens a lot. The problem is not that this will happen once, it's that they don't care whether you have a license to use the material. As I mentioned, Unfound has given me explicit permission to use their phenomenal music in not only my Eckhart's Ladder videos, but also as my X2 starting screen music for streams. I use it in every stream because it's amazing, but in every stream it gets copyright claimed. Now, I could technically find music that's not in the system, but it's really the principle here that matters, and in these cases, it's small artists being hurt because they're not getting the money or promotion that they could be getting from licensed music because of overzealous content managers. So of course I've reached out to the company like I've reached out to 1,000 companies in the past, because this is far from the only time this has happened. I've, made a stink about this on Twitter probably 10 times by now, because there's always new companies popping up who feel like leeching your money, which is what they're doing to me at least. And every time it's a big ordeal. So I've counterclaimed, I think 25 of the most recent X2 live streams with the same message every time, basically laying out how I have permission to use the video and filling out the form where I have to have my legal name added at my address and click a bunch of boxes and stuff. It's actually a bit of effort, but still, even though they've accepted my counterclaims and most times release the claims, at least in this instance, they will still take the money of every single new stream that I do, because they don't care. There's no incentive for them to whitelist my channel, and there's no punishment for overzealous or even fraudulent copyright protection. I messaged them and they basically said, sorry, we don't whitelist channels, because why would they? They can have bots make money from people who are too tired or who don't realize that this shit is happening to their live streams or their videos or whatever else. Now, while this one specific company is bad, I have dealt with far, far worse. Some companies, even if you have a license, will just decline your counterclaim. They'll automatically just say no, and then they keep taking all the money, and there's really nothing you can do short of, if you're a big creator like me, making a really, really big stink on Twitter, which I've had to do a few times. An even bigger problem, in my opinion, is the fact that many of these companies, when accepting new tracks into their protection system, won't even check if it's an artist's original work. So, as an example, many of you guys know I use the song Resonance by Home as my intro and outro song. A few months ago, I woke up to literally hundreds of copyright claims on my channel because some random person uploaded a remix of Home Resonance to their digital rights management company, and they went on to flag everyone else who used the song, thinking that it was something completely new, which is obviously completely fraudulent. The company will never be punished for that. There's no reason why they wouldn't have a laissez-faire attitude when it comes to checking the actual originality of these copyrighted works. And this hasn't happened to me once or twice. This has happened hundreds of times across my YouTube channel. Thousands of dollars held in limbo or lost, essentially. Some days I'll be streaming and I'll get a notification that some random Korean band is saying I used their song in one of my videos, when of course that's not the case. It's just an outright lie. They used maybe a second of Home Resonance or some other music, and from there the bots just go to town. It's absolutely ludicrous, and there's no oversight. As I mentioned, it's just a really shit system that threatens not only YouTubers like myself, but also small musicians and artists. Eventually, this will happen to the wrong person, somebody who has a lot of money, Mr. Beast please, and they'll take matters into their own hands. YouTube needs to improve their systems, but until they do, someone needs to take these companies to court. When it comes to my current situation, most of my copyright claims have been released, although that's not always the case in the past, so I'm not losing out on a lot of money directly. I guess the interest I could have made on that money had I invested it and the time that I have to spend contesting every single live stream that I put up for copyright claims. But when it comes to these really fraudulent cases, eventually a Mr. Beast video is going to get claimed and the person is going to deny the counterclaim and they're going to go to court and they're going to get smacked down. And it is going to be great. Until then, I'm pretty much limited in what I can do on my main channel. That's why I've had to repeat the same music over and over again. Unfound doesn't get copyright claimed over here on Eckhart's Ladder for some instance. I guess I'm whitelisted over here, but not my second channel. And that's the same usually with most home music and Allison music, but I upload so much that finding other really good tracks that won't get flagged every time is just too much of a hassle for me. But guys, that's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know, of course, it was different than my usual stuff. Until next time though, please be safe, have a good one, and may the force be with you.